I want to talk about the codes. They require we have so much explosion relief. And they have two different calculations. They end up usually with the same amount of square foot of required explosion relief. Now, usually we'd like to put it on one of the long walls so that we can have enough room to put all the explosion relief. But in this particular case, the siting at the user's location will not permit us to use this wall. We can only use the end wall. And here we have the whole end wall filled with explosion relief. Now, the nice thing about these explosion relief panels is that they are made of aluminum. This is an aluminum frame around the panel. Each panel is clad with aluminum on the outside as well as on the inside, and inside of there is some rigid foam. We get an R value of 19 for an insulated portion of the panel. The panel has a single magnetic release. Now, that's important in that less expensive panels, homemade type panels, are made with UL and FM approved breakaway washers. And you'd have one in a corner, maybe one in the middle, and all the corner all the way around. And the washers are supposed to let go at a certain poundage. But that's not going to happen. One of them is not going to let go at the same pounds as the others, and therefore when it blows out, it's going to warp the panel and it can never be reused. With this system, we have a single magnetic release. When it blows out, it's on a tether. It's bottom hinged, so it's hinged here, it can't fly away. It's going to blow out to the end of the tether, and on where it's tied to the panel back here at the middle, there is a bar, a soft metal bar. And so if it's a real hard explosion and it really flies up extremely hard, it's going to bend. That bar is going to bend and act as a shock absorber so that the panel doesn't bend and warp when it's out there. Then we couldn't reuse it. But in our case, we pull the tether back and we can reset it and reuse it again. You can also periodically test your panels anytime you want by walking over and giving it a good whack and testing it. Now, I just popped the explosion relief panel open. As you can see, it's tethered at that midpoint. That's also the magnet that had held it closed at 20 pounds per square foot set from the factory. But following it up here, it goes to a bar that has a soft metal. And that allows the panel to have some shock absorbing capability so that the panel doesn't bend out there and be ruined and couldn't be used after a blast. What just happened, the panel opened all right, but what you didn't see was up here, this flipper is held in place when the panel is in place. So when the panel goes away, the flipper comes out. So in a real explosion, all of the air leaves the room, leaves it in a partial vacuum, and suddenly, immediately, the air starts rushing back in. And when it does, the panel is going to start to close, and it's going to slam back. And if it closes with all that pressure of that air coming back in, it'll destroy the panel. So what you didn't see was this flipper flipped out. And because that flipper flipped out, it'll prevent the panel when it slams back from completely closing, so the air can come in around the panel and come back into the room and save again the panel from being destroyed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close the panel and show how it is resettable and reusable. You got a clearer picture of the magnet. Get the flipper out of the way. Have to be careful. And then you want to stuff the cable back in the channel. Now that it's open so we can see it, it's opened into an enclosed blast shaft. And you can imagine the explosion and the fire and the heat of it going out and not being able to go toward anything outside, but has to go up out of the way harmlessly. These two 4-foot by 8-foot panels are not enough to meet Factory Mutual's formula. So we had to go up with a hole in the roof in order to put another 3-foot by 5-foot panel to meet the code. And when an explosion occurs, when the explosion comes out and will go out there as well and out there and all mixed together straight up.